Hey there, I'm Frank Mitchell. On this channel, it's all about helping you understand your car and keeping it running the way it should. Whether it's routine maintenance or solving those tricky problems, I've got you covered. If you find this useful, give the video a like, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to watch till the end. You might learn something that saves you time and money. All right, let's get started.
Opel and Peugeot belong to the Stellantis automotive group, so both brands' urban and 100% electric models, the Corsa Electric and the E-208, share platform, engines, and technology. The 2023 Opel Corsa Electric is an update of the Corsa E that arrived on the market in 2020 to complete the range of the sixth generation. Of the Corsa, the German brand's well-known utility vehicle already developed under the PSA, Peugeot Citroën, group. The 100% electric variant of the 208 also landed on the market in 2020. Like Opel, the French brand has also made an update of the model for 2023 in which both have introduced a more powerful version, have reduced consumption and improved autonomy to place them as the models in the category that can travel more kilometers on one charge. In the Opel Corsa Electric range there are two versions, 136 and 156 horsepower, so that its range is now equal to that of the E-208. That is, in this comparison we will analyze the differences between the Opel Corsa Electric and Peugeot E-208 that are currently on sale. Price. The Opel Corsa Electric is available from €29,930 through the CarWow configurator, thanks to an average discount of €5,270. While the access price of the Peugeot E-208 is considerably higher as it stands at €31,742, with an average discount of €2,621. Both models are available at CarWow with interesting discounts. Enter our configurator and see real offers from the dealers closest to you. Opel Corsa E Peugeot E-208 exterior dimensions. The Opel Corsa Electric is 4.06 m long, 1.77 m wide and 1.44 m high. Its wheelbase is 2.54 meters. The Peugeot E-208 measures 4.06 m in length, 1.75 m in width and 1.43 m in height. It has a wheelbase of 2.54 meters. As we can see, the dimensions are almost identical, with the existing differences being practically insignificant in terms of interior roominess or trunk capacity. The weight, a very important variable in electric cars in order to achieve greater autonomy, is also the same. The only important difference between the two models is in the turning radius, as the Peugeot E-208 needs 34 centimeters less to complete a U-turn, something that can be very useful for maneuvering in tight spaces. Measurements: Opel Corsa E Peugeot E-208 length 4.06 meters, 4.06 meters, height 1.44 meters, 1.43 meters, width 1.77 meters. 1.75 meters, distance between axles 2.54 meters, 2.54 meters, weight 1,530 kilograms, 1,530 kilograms, minimum trunk 267 liters, 265 liters. Maximum trunk 1,042 liters, 1118 liters. Opel Corsa E Peugeot E-208 interior dimensions and habitability. The first row of seats of the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 are practically identical, except for one detail: the French model offers 5 centimeters more in width. In the second row of seats, the differences are even smaller, identical width and 1 centimeter more in height and length for the E-208. Where there are differences is in the ergonomics and driving position. The E-208 has the characteristic iCockpit, which is distinguished by the steering wheel, small and flattened at both ends, and the instrument panel, which is located in a very high position and can be read by looking over the steering wheel rim. The Opel Corsa Electric offers a more traditional layout, with a full-size round steering wheel and the instrument panel positioned to be read from inside the rim. Opel Corsa E interior. Peugeot E-208 interior trunk. Considering that the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 use the same platform, share exterior dimensions and wheelbase, it Is logical to think that there are no significant differences in terms of capacity and dimensions in the trunks, and so it is. The Opel Corsa Electric has a 267-liter capacity, while the Peugeot E-208 can hold 265 liters. With respect to the variants with combustion engines, there is an important difference, since both the Corsa and the gasoline-powered 208 have a capacity of 309 liters. In other words, the 100% electric versions of these models lose about 50 liters of trunk capacity. Engine and performance. Both the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 are available with a 156 horsepower version which, introduced with the restyling, places them as the most powerful electric cars in the category behind only the 184 horsepower Mini Cooper E and 218 horsepower Cooper SE. The battery is slightly more capable than before with 51 kilowatt-hour capacity, 48.1 kilowatt-hours usable. In addition, only the Corsa Electric continues to mount a 136 horsepower electric motor and a 50 kilowatt-hour capacity lithium-ion battery, 46 kilowatt-hours. Usable, a version that is no longer available in the E-208 range. Performance is good in both models, as they feature the characteristic instantaneous throttle response of electric cars. The Opel Corsa Electric completes 0 to 100 km per hour in 8.7 seconds, a time that is reduced to 8.1 seconds in the 156 horsepower version, and is identical in the E-208 with the same power. Opel Corsa E Peugeot E-208 Peugeot E-208 engine range electric E-208 100 kilowatts of 136 horsepower electric E-208 115 kilowatts of 156 horsepower consumption and range. The Peugeot E-208 has an average fuel consumption of 14.4 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers with a fully charged battery. Although this is a very good figure, the Opel Corsa Electric achieves a very similar but even better figure of 14.2 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers. In the 136 horsepower versions these figures worsen, 15.5 and 15.7 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, respectively, because the new 156 horsepower models are equipped with a new battery, a more efficient electric motor, different transmission developments, a revised management system and a heat pump is now used for the air conditioning system. In these new versions with a battery with 51 kilowatt-hour gross capacity instead of 50 kilowatt-hours, although in reality 1.8 kilowatt-hour net are increased. The Opel Corsa Electric homologates a range of 404 kilometers, practically the same as that of the Peugeot E-208 which is 400 kilometers. Figures that allow them to be placed as the electric cars in the category with more range, along with the 218 horsepower Mini Cooper SE, which is also capable of traveling up to 400 kilometers according to the brand. During the test drive of both models, which was a mix of highway, regional road and city in approximately equal parts, we were able to verify that both the Corsa Electric and the E-208 were able to reach the homologated average consumption at the accelerator was not abused and we always stayed somewhat below the speed limit on the highway, and at a speed of between 100 and 120 km/h, the average consumption was around 17 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers, and in purely urban driving we got about 10 kilowatt-hours per 100 kilometers on average. In terms of charging time, the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 share the same data, 11 kilowatts of maximum power in alternating current and up to 100 kilowatts in direct current. Charging at maximum power, 100 kilowatts, both models can go from 0 to 80% battery charge in 30 minutes. Driving. We were able to drive both the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 with the 156 horsepower engine in two presentations and with about 2 weeks of difference, by a fairly similar routes in terms of type of roads. There are no major differences in favor of one or the other. Both are cars with a very neutral and safe behavior, mainly oriented to comfort and not to sportiness, very pleasant to drive in urban journeys, but with sufficient capacity for road trips without accumulating fatigue in any way. But it is true that we remember the Opel with a little more poise in the steering and perhaps a little better insulated. It really stepped and gave the feeling of driving a very different car than its thermal version, as if it were a segment above. We did not feel this so much in the E-208, which felt that lightness at the wheel of a more urban car, a suspension that controlled the movements of the body a little less and a less successful brake feel. However, the latter may have been a little more agile on corner entry during the mountain road section. Equipment. The Opel Corsa Electric is available with two finishes, Edition and GS. The first is associated with the 136 horsepower engine and 50 kilowatt-hours battery, while the second and top of the range is only possible to choose with the version of 156 horsepower and 51 kilowatt-hours. From the most basic finish, it has headlights with LED technology for all its functions, climate control, multimedia system with 7-inch touch screen and a set of safety and driving assistance system, among which we find lane keeping assistant, traffic sign recognition, fatigue detector, and high beam assistant. Although nothing of the essentials is missing, the equipment list could be more generous, as we must go to the extras to have elements such as parking sensors, rear view camera, or tinted windows. Opel Corsa E dashboard. Peugeot E-208 dashboard. The Peugeot E-208 is available in 4 trim levels: Active, E-Style, Allure, and GT. The standard equipment of the most basic version, the E-208 Active, has even less equipment than the Corsa Electric Edition, with alloy wheels and climate control being the most notable absences. In addition, the Peugeot E-208 does not even have optional matrix headlights. Although there is a difference in favor of the Peugeot, and is that the standard multimedia system has a 7-inch touchscreen in the Corsa Electric, while in the E-208 its size is 10 inches. If we go to the top of the range finishes, we can count on a more sophisticated 10-inch screen and browser included in both models. In any case, the multimedia systems are compatible with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Conclusion: Opel Corsa Electric or Peugeot E-208, which one should I buy? As we have seen throughout this comparison, there are no significant differences in terms of habitability, consumption, autonomy, performance, trunk capacity, or equipment, so the design, driving sensations, and the small difference in price would be the key factors in opting for one or the other model. The aesthetic changes introduced in the GT finish of the Peugeot E-208 make the French model is very striking with those flared fins. But the German model gives the feeling of being a little more refined and with more poise behind the wheel, although less agile and dynamic. Peugeot also offers a wider choice of trim lines, while the Opel has more closed options. In any case, it is not easy to answer the question Opel Corsa Electric or Peugeot E-208, which is better. In that case, design, driving preferences, or the best offer you find on CarWow would be the keys to make a decision. In conclusion, both the Opel Corsa Electric and the Peugeot E-208 offer compelling options for those looking to transition to electric vehicles. The Corsa stands out with its practicality and slightly more spacious interior, while the E-208 impresses with its stylish design and engaging driving experience. Ultimately, the choice between these two models will depend on individual preferences, whether you prioritize comfort, aesthetics, or driving dynamics. Whichever you choose, both vehicles represent a significant step towards sustainable driving, making them excellent contenders in the growing electric vehicle market. Thank you for watching, and we hope this comparison has helped you in your decision-making process.